Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be doing another Q&A. So in a previous Q&A video and also on a video from last week, you guys dropped a bunch of questions on those videos down in the comment section, and today is the day I'm going to be going ahead and answering them for you here. So if you guys have any questions that I don't answer in today's video, drop them in the comment section of this video and I'll be sure to answer them in the next Q&A. But with that being said, you guys asked a lot of questions, so let's just get started. So the first question here is actually from a channel member. So first off, huge thank you to the channel members. I really appreciate all of your support. If you guys are interested in becoming a channel member, the link is down in the description, or you can click the join button next to the channel name. In becoming a channel member, you get early access to videos, exclusive access to videos, behind the scenes updates, members only polls, and so much more. And so if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to become a channel member today. I would really appreciate it. But with that, the first question is, when are more custom trains going to start happening? And that is a kind of complicated question because the answer is soon, but I'm not entirely sure as the timeline of that because there's a lot of moving factors in that. I also need to get a bunch of pieces. Recently, I went ahead and I modified the Bricklaying Designer Program Series 4 Wild West train, which is currently on the layout. I don't know if you guys can see it at the train station right now, but I think it turned out great, and I would love to not only make more modifications of official LEGO sets in the future, but also create my own custom trains. That is something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and now that I finally have some pieces to make that happen, expect to see that in the near future. As for a specific timeline, like by the end of the month or next month or something like that, I can't definitively say that quite yet, just because I need to design them and I need to then get the pieces and build them. So it's a pretty long process, and I do want to design them digitally so that I could make instructions for you guys. And again, my Rebrickable link is down in the description below if you are interested in checking out any of the mocks that I have made. So that is my answer at the moment, which is just soon. So hopefully it is sooner as opposed to later, but I do have a bunch of ideas in mind, so definitely stay tuned for that so you don't miss out. The next question is, how do you come up with ideas for your mocks? And some ideas just kind of come to me. Some of them is from more of the real world, and I see a building and I take inspiration from that, and then I come home, see what pieces I have, and then I kind of make that happen. There are also other builders out there that make custom things that I am really inspired by, and some of those I see on Instagram. Some of them aren't even official city buildings, they're more so in different genres, but I see some building techniques in there that I think would be really interesting, and so I translate them over into my own builds, and I think that helps make these buildings turn out really good. At least for me personally, everything is subjective, and so some people won't like the buildings that I make, and that's totally fine. I like them, and at the end of the day, this is my city, and so that is all that really matters to me. But again, as for the next mock that I'm going to be working on in terms of buildings, it is probably going to be the apartment building. I have some pieces on order for that, so again, stay tuned for that so you don't miss out when that happens. I'm really excited for the apartment building, actually. I think it's going to turn out great. And so I'm going to go ahead and keep working on that. But after the apartment building, I'm not sure what building is going to come next. Recently, we did work on that small town store that I placed over by the Tudor Corner. And we also worked on the post office that is near the Palace Cinema. And I would love to work on those again, specifically the post office, because it is missing a third floor. So that is something that I would like to return to. But as for new buildings, I don't really have any other ideas at the moment, so drop your comments down below of any specific buildings or types of stores that you want me to make. And speaking of things to add to the city, I got a couple questions regarding things to add, which is namely a baseball field and also a circus or an amusement park. Now, a baseball field I think is a fantastic idea. I don't know where I would put it though on this table, but I'll touch on that later in the video because I think a baseball field could be really cool, but it wouldn't really fit into a city style of landscape, so that is unfortunately not going to make the cut for this table, but for the other table it is definitely a possibility. Now, as for the circus or amusement park, those I'm less keen on personally. A circus I don't have any of the pieces for. I don't have any of the animals. I could brick build them, but I think some of the molds look a lot better than brick building them personally. And then as for an amusement park, I have the Ferris wheel, and that's the only ride that I have, and to get the other roller coasters and carousels and things like that, they're all retired, unfortunately, so I would have to go in and pay a pretty premium on those sets just to get them to the city, and then even then, I don't have the space for them. So that is why I'm not adding an amusement park to the city, and the same with the circus. I don't have the means to make one, nor do I have the space for it. Now, the next question is actually about some of the latest LEGO news, which is about the Italian Riviera. That is the LEGO idea set that is coming out this August, which is just a few weeks away. So it's coming up pretty fast, and I think it looks fantastic. I'll put a picture on the screen for you guys so you can check it out for yourself. But I think it looks great. $300 is pretty steep for it though, but it does have definitely some potential to be added to a city layout. So if that's something that you want to see me add it to the city, and you want to see a review of it and all of that stuff right when it drops, make sure to drop a comment down below to let me know. But as for integrating into the city, I'm not entirely sure where it would go, because it wouldn't fit up at the top with all of the other normal modular buildings, because it has a water around the base and it's also not on a base plate. So the best spot for it would probably be right down here, which is by the water and the beach and all that stuff. But the dimensions of the base are about 12 by 13 inches, which is way bigger than the space that I have between the edge of the table and the rock face over here. So I need to go in and I need to figure that out if that is something that I'm going to be adding to the city. I could move the rock work back and then just make the bridges themselves longer. That's not really a problem, but then I'd also have to get a lot more tiles for the water and a lot more different kinds of pieces. So that is just something to keep in mind as well. And so while that is a modular style building, because the roof comes off and each floor comes off as well, and the back is enclosed, some of you guys have been asking, what is the next modular that I'm going to be adding to the city? The obvious answer would be the 2026 modular, when that comes out in, I'm assuming, January of 2026, but that is a ways away. And so actually the next modular building that I plan on adding to the city is the Daily Bugle. I placed the order during the Insiders Days a couple weeks ago, and so that is on back order actually, so it should ship within the next 50 to 60 days, which seems like a long time, but I'm sure that will come pretty quickly. And then once that arrives in the studio, then we can go ahead, we can build it, we can review it, and also place it in the city. I think that would add a really, really nice interest to the skyline, and I think that would make it look really good, especially once we get that apartment building finished as well. As for regular modular buildings, I have been eyeing up some of the retired ones on Facebook Marketplace, namely the corner garage and also the downtown diner. So those could also get added to the city, but at the moment, I am not entirely sure if I'm actually going to pull the trigger on them, so don't quote me on that, but I do think that those are really, really nice buildings, and I would like to add them to my collection someday. So that could be within the next couple weeks, or that could be in the next couple years, just depending on the price at the end of the day. And so that is what it comes down to. So expect to see a video at least about the Daily Bugle in the near future, but also keep an eye out for that corner garage. That might come sooner than you think. Now, the next two questions kind of go hand in hand, and the first one is, will you rearrange the city? A lot of your official sets are next to each other, and a lot of your custom builds are also next to each other, and there's not a lot of mixing between the two. And while I do agree with that, I personally really like the layout that I've chosen here. There's not a lot of corner builds, which I'm now realizing as I'm looking at the corner garage online, and also all of these other builds as well. But I do still think that the layout that I have chosen here is really good, and it works a lot better than my previous layout did, and I'm very happy with it for the time being, so I have no plans to change it in the near future. But I'm sure once that new modular building comes out in 2026, and if I do actually get the corner garage, I might have to make a couple modifications to the area here just to make sure that all of the buildings fit and they look the best next to each other. The next question here is about the expansion table, which kind of ties into the previous question, like I said. And so when is that expansion table coming? Again, I can't really give a definitive timeline of that. It's all dependent on how I choose to go about it. I do plan on buying the same type of wood, which is MDF board, which is medium density fiberboard. So I would love to go to Home Depot and get that and then bring it here and then make it, and then we can start putting Lego on it. But unfortunately, there's a lot more steps to that. And I'm also thinking about rearranging my sorting system as well. So I was thinking about getting IKEA drawers or Sterilite drawers or something like that so I can put all my pieces in them. Because the bins that I have work great for bulk pieces, but they don't work great for all of these little individual 1x1s and 1x2s, and then 1x1 rounds, 1x2 rounds, and things like that. So there's a lot of little different pieces that unfortunately these bins that I currently have just aren't great for. And so I'm looking into getting a new sorting system. And so with that, I would like to put it under that table. So I'm going to make that table to fit those. So I'm still trying to figure the sorting system out, so I can't do the table yet. And then it's just this whole thing. So that's why the sorting system hasn't gotten an update video, and that's why the expansion table hasn't been made yet. But don't worry, that is something that I'm working on the back end that will hopefully be coming soon. Hopefully by the end of the summer or the first couple weeks of September, October, something like that. Then we can get the expansion table in, and then we can really start to get the city growing, because the downtown core looks great and I'm really happy with it. But I really love building nature stuff. I don't know if you guys noticed with all the foliage around here and all the details and things. I really love building plant life and greenery and stuff like that. And I can't wait to have trains cutting through landscapes. So that is something to look forward to as well. That table is mostly going to be landscape and water features and mountains and hills and things like that. So that is definitely something to look forward to as well. Now, the final question here is actually about the Wild West train. Like I said, a couple weeks ago, I went ahead and not only did I review the set, but I also went in and I made a bunch of modifications to the set, just because I wasn't a huge fan of the design that the set had shipped out with from the Bricklink Designer Program. And so I went in and I changed the tender a lot. I modified the flat car, and I also modified the locomotive a little bit as well. But you guys are asking if I'm going to make any more modifications to it, or if I'm going to change things that I've already changed. And the things that I've already changed, I probably wouldn't. If I had to make one more change to this set, it would probably be to the passenger car. I would go in and kind of just streamline the build. I would take out a lot of the extra pieces that are in there because it adds a lot of weight and it's honestly just unnecessary. So I would go in, I would try and clean that up as best as I could, which would also leave more space on the interior for minifigures. So that is just something that I would do personally. And then I would also go in and make the locomotive a little bit stronger, because as it is, if you just pick it up by the cab, it's going to fall apart on you, and then the whole build is going to come crashing to the floor. Not that I know from personal experience or anything, just saying. But I would love to go in and streamline that a little bit as well, because while it does look really nice, it is unfortunately a little bit fragile. But now that I've put those third-party rubber bands on the locomotive itself, the train runs a lot smoother. I haven't had any slipping issues, and those bands are extremely, extremely cheap. So if you guys are interested in that, I have an affiliate link down in the description for those. In using my affiliate links, you do not pay anything extra. I just earn a small commission on any sales using those links. So I would really, really appreciate it if you guys would check that out. But with that, that is going to wrap up today's Q&A. Thank you guys so much for watching, and also for asking all of these questions. If you guys like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. If you guys have any other questions for me, make sure to drop them down in the comments below so I can answer them in the next Q&A. But once again, seriously, thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.